When a woman wants to give you her body, her time, and her complete feminine surrender, she won't announce it with words. She won't say, "I'm ready." Instead, her actions become louder than her voice. And if you're paying attention, you'll notice the signs. Soft, delicate signals wrapped in emotion, psychology, and instinct. Some men miss them because they expect something obvious. But attraction is rarely obvious. It hides in the silence, in the eye contact, in what she does when you're not even touching her. Welcome to Mindful Senior Living. I'm Mary Smith, and on this channel we explore the deeper emotional and psychological truths about connection. If you're new here, I'm so glad you found us. And if you've been part of this community for a while, you already know we go beyond surface level advice. Before we go any further, I want to speak directly to you. Whether you're a man trying to understand a woman's signals, this conversation matters. Because intimacy, real intimacy, isn't about games. It's about safety, trust, biology, and emotional readiness. And if at any point you think, yes, I've seen this before, I want you to comment below. Tell me which sign surprised you the most. Every woman is different, but when she truly desires a man, certain psychological patterns begin to show because her nervous system begins responding. And the first place this shows up is in her presence. A woman who is not interested will maintain distance, her posture will stay guarded. But when she desires you, something shifts. She drifts closer. Not dramatically, but subtly, like gravity. Maybe her knees angle toward you under the table. Psychologists call this proxemic behavior. We naturally orient toward what we're drawn to. I once worked with a couple in their late 50s, and the husband told me, "I knew she liked me because she would end up sitting one seat closer each week." And it's not just closeness, it's comfort. Her voice softens. Her laughter becomes easier. Relaxation is one of the strongest signs of trust. Now let's talk about her eyes. One of the strongest indicators of attraction is actually the opposite of bold stares. She looks at you and then quickly looks away. That tiny break in eye contact? That's vulnerability. She might glance at your lips, tuck her hair behind her ear, or touch her collarbone. Have you ever noticed a woman lightly biting her lip? Or adjusting her bracelet? These are self-soothing gestures. Her body is awake. A woman who desires a man does not move toward physical closeness without emotional safety. For most women, physical surrender is preceded by emotional exposure. If she begins sharing personal stories, her fears, her disappointments, that is not casual conversation. That is selective vulnerability. She is testing safety. She is asking silently, "Can I trust you with the soft parts of me?" Now let's move into another sign. She starts imagining you in her world. Does she ask about your values, your patience, your reactions to stress? And here's a powerful truth. A woman will not fully give her body to a man she does not emotionally trust. Safety unlocks surrender. When someone emotionally matters to us, our nervous system activates. That activation can show up as nervous laughter, slight fidgeting, or heightened expressiveness. It's not immaturity, it's attachment activation. If she is perfectly neutral around you, no spark, no shift, no subtle nervous energy, there may be respect, but not desire. Desire creates movement. Another powerful indicator? She initiates small physical contact, not dramatic, not overt, but subtle. She adjusts your collar, she brushes lint off your jacket. Her hand lingers for half a second longer than necessary. Women are generally selective with touch. If she initiates it, she's testing connection. She's assessing how you respond. Are you gentle? Are you attentive? Are you respectful? And this part is important. If you respond with impatience or aggression, her nervous system will immediately retract. But if you respond with calm presence, her trust deepens. Now, I want to pause here and ask you something. Have you ever misread a woman's distance as disinterest, when in reality she was protecting her feelings because they were growing too strong? Because here's something many people don't talk about. When a woman's desire feels bigger than she can comfortably admit, she may briefly pull away, not because she lost interest, but because she's scared of how much she cares. This push and pull dynamic is common in women who have been hurt before. Their attachment system wants closeness. Their protection system wants control. So she might go quiet for a day, then return warmer than before. That inconsistency isn't always manipulation. Sometimes it's fear battling desire. And if you're still with me, I want you to like this video right now because we're about to talk about something most channels avoid: observation. When a woman truly wants to give herself to you, she studies you, not obsessively, but attentively. She watches how you speak to waitstaff, how you respond when frustrated, what makes you light up, what makes you shut down. Because surrender requires understanding. She needs to know the emotional landscape she's stepping into. I once had a client say, "I fell in love with the way he treated his sister. Not his appearance, not his status, his behavior." Women observe behavior over time, and when what they see aligns with what they need, their walls soften. Now let's talk about anticipation. She checks her phone more often when she's expecting your message. She remembers small details you mentioned weeks ago. She rearranges her schedule subtly to make space for you. Desire reorganizes priorities. And something even more telling, she becomes intentional about her presentation. This isn't about vanity, it's about signaling. If she adjusts her posture when you enter the room, reapplies lip gloss before meeting you, chooses a particular outfit when she knows she'll see you, she is communicating attraction without saying it. But here's the deeper layer: jealousy. Not dramatic jealousy, not confrontational jealousy, quiet jealousy. A slight pause when you mention another woman's name, a subtle shift in her tone, a moment of withdrawal she quickly tries to hide. Jealousy indicates emotional investment. A woman doesn't feel territorial over someone she sees as temporary. And finally, perhaps the most powerful sign of all, she makes herself available. She stays longer than she planned. She invites you into more private spaces, not necessarily physical intimacy immediately, but emotional intimacy. She enjoys being alone with you. When a woman desires you deeply, she does not fear solitude with you. She seeks it. Her breathing slows around you. Her body relaxes. Her conversation deepens. Silence becomes comfortable. And comfort is intimacy's foundation. Now, before we close, I want to offer something practical. If you recognize these signs, your role is not to rush, not to pressure, not to assume. Your role is to maintain emotional steadiness. Be consistent. Be respectful. Be patient. Because when a woman gives her body, she is giving trust. And trust, once broken, is rarely rebuilt the same way. So here's a small exercise for you. The next time you're with someone you care about, observe, not to manipulate, but to understand. Notice her breathing, her posture, her questions, her energy shifts. And ask yourself, am I creating safety? Because desire grows in safety. If this conversation helped you see women and maybe even yourself more clearly, share this video. Leave a comment. Tell me what resonated most. And if you're not yet part of our community here at Mindful Senior Living, subscribe. We're building something thoughtful here, something grounded in psychology, respect, and real emotional intelligence. Remember, desire is rarely loud. It's quiet. It's subtle. It's biological and emotional all at once. You just have to know how to listen. And before you click away, I want to take you even deeper, because what we've discussed so far are the visible signals. But underneath those behaviors is something even more powerful: the internal emotional shift that happens inside a woman when she is truly ready to give herself. There is a moment, and it's different for every woman, when resistance turns into acceptance, when caution turns into curiosity, when curiosity turns into desire, and desire turns into surrender. But surrender is often misunderstood. Surrender is not weakness. It is not submission in the way many people imagine it. Psychologically, surrender is the act of choosing vulnerability with someone who feels safe enough to hold it. For a woman, that choice is profound. When she begins to trust you emotionally, her brain reduces its threat response. The amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for detecting danger, calms down. Her body shifts from fight or flight into rest and connect. This is when oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone, begins to increase. And oxytocin is directly linked to trust, closeness, and physical bonding. This is why emotional safety and physical readiness are deeply connected. You may notice that she starts lingering in conversations longer than before. She doesn't rush to leave. She asks one more question. She finds one more reason to stay. That lingering? That's attachment forming. Let me tell you a story. A woman in her early 60s once told me about the moment she realized she was ready to be intimate again after being widowed for nearly a decade. She said, "It wasn't about passion at first. It was about how calm I felt sitting next to him. I didn't feel rushed. I didn't feel judged. I felt safe. Safety created space. Space allowed desire to grow. That's how it often happens. Another powerful sign that a woman is moving towards surrender is how she responds to your leadership. Not dominance, but grounded direction. If she asks, "What do you think?" more often, if she defers to your choice of restaurant, if she seems comfortable letting you guide small decisions, that's not helplessness. It's trust. Trust in your stability. Women surrender emotionally to men who feel steady, not reactive, not chaotic, not unpredictable. If you want to know whether she is truly considering giving herself to you, observe how she reacts when something goes wrong. If plans change unexpectedly, does she look to you for reassurance? If she feels overwhelmed, does she open up instead of shutting down? These are signs that she sees you as an anchor. Now let's talk about something many men misinterpret: testing. Right before a woman fully lets her guard down, she may unconsciously test you. She might bring up a serious topic. She might express a vulnerability and watch how you handle it. She might become slightly distant for a moment to see if you respond with insecurity or strength. This isn't manipulation, it's risk assessment. Her body is asking, if I give myself to this man, will he protect my heart or mishandle it? If you respond with patience, calmness, and emotional maturity, her internal green light turns on. But if you respond with anger, pressure, or entitlement, her system shuts down immediately. This is why emotional intelligence is so attractive. Now I want to shift perspectives for a moment. If you're a woman watching this and you recognize yourself in these patterns, I want you to pause and reflect. Are you choosing men who create safety? Or are you mistaking intensity for security? Intensity can feel like desire, but safety is what sustains it. And if you're a man watching, ask yourself honestly, do you create an environment where a woman feels emotionally protected? Or are you rushing toward physical connection without building trust? Because here's a truth many people avoid. When a woman gives her body without emotional readiness, she often feels disconnected afterward. But when she gives herself from a place of trust and genuine desire, the experience deepens attachment. This is backed by research in bonding psychology. Emotional context shapes physical experience. Now let's talk about availability in a deeper sense. When a woman rearranges her life slightly to accommodate you, stays up later than usual, checks in during the day, sends you something that reminded her of you, that's not casual. That's prioritization. We prioritize what matters. And something subtle but incredibly telling is how she reacts when you withdraw attention slightly, not to manipulate, but simply because life gets busy. If she reaches out, if she checks in, if she asks if everything is okay, that's emotional investment. Indifference does not reach out, desire does. Another quiet but powerful signal is nurturing behavior. She may ask if you've eaten. She may remember your stressful meeting and follow up later. She may offer small acts of care, bringing you coffee, adjusting your jacket, making sure you're comfortable. Nurturing is not random. It's an expression of emotional bonding. When a woman imagines intimacy with a man, she often imagines emotional closeness intertwined with physical closeness. Caregiving activates attachment. And then there's the final stage, the shift in energy. You'll feel it before you fully see it. Her body relaxes fully in your presence. Her laughter becomes unfiltered. She holds eye contact longer. Her touch becomes less hesitant. There is less calculation, less guardedness. She stops analyzing every move and starts simply being. That's when surrender is near. But I want to leave you with something crucial. Just because a woman shows signs of desire does not mean consent is automatic. Consent is always verbal, always clear, always mutual. Psychological readiness and physical permission are not the same thing. A woman may feel desire and still need reassurance. She may feel attraction and still move slowly. Respecting her pace strengthens trust. Rushing breaks it. If you want lasting intimacy, not just a moment, be the man or woman who values emotional alignment over urgency. Now here's a practical reflection exercise for you. Think of the last person you felt deeply attracted to. Write down, how did your body feel around them? Did you lean closer? Did you check your phone for their messages? Did your tone of voice change? Understanding your own patterns helps you recognize them in others. Self-awareness creates better relationships. And before we end, I want to ask you something personal. Have you ever realized someone wanted you, but you didn't notice until it was too late? If so, share your experience in the comments. These conversations help others feel less alone. If this video gave you clarity, comfort, or a new perspective, please like it. It helps this channel reach people who are tired of shallow advice and ready for deeper understanding. Subscribe to Mindful Senior Living if you want more emotionally intelligent conversations about desire, connection, attachment, and the psychology of relationships at every stage of life. Because whether you're 25 or 75, the need to feel seen, safe, and desired never disappears. Desire is quiet, trust is powerful, and surrender, true surrender, is always built on emotional safety. And I want to go even further with you, because there's one layer we haven't fully uncovered yet, the internal dialogue happening inside a woman when she is standing on the edge of intimacy. From the outside, it may look simple. She's smiling more, she's leaning closer, she's softer in tone. But inside, there's a conversation happening. Part of her is thinking, I want this. Another part is asking, is this safe? And another whisper says, what if I get hurt? When a woman begins to consider giving herself fully, emotionally and physically, she is negotiating with her past experiences. If she has been betrayed before, her nervous system remembers. If she has been abandoned, her attachment system is alert. If she has been rushed, pressured, or misunderstood, her body carries that memory. That's why the way you handle the final stages of emotional closeness matters so much. Here's something many people overlook. Anticipation is often more intimate than action. When she sits close to you and there's that quiet tension in the air, when your knees brush and neither of you moves away, when eye contact lingers just 1 second too long, her body is responding in real time, her heart rate increases slightly, her breathing deepens, her skin becomes more sensitive. This is not fantasy, it's biology. Research on attraction shows that physiological arousal, elevated heart rate, subtle adrenaline release can intensify emotional bonding when paired with feelings of safety. That's why the combination of calm presence and emotional spark is so powerful. If she leans in during silence instead of filling it with nervous chatter, that's trust. If she lets your hand rest on her back and doesn't stiffen, that's comfort. If she mirrors your movements unconsciously, that's connection. Mirroring is especially important. When a woman subconsciously mirrors your posture, your speech rhythm, or your gestures, it signals alignment. Her brain is syncing with yours. This is called behavioral synchrony, and it increases feelings of closeness. But here is where emotional maturity becomes essential. When you sense she is opening, the instinct for many people is to escalate quickly, to move faster, to secure the moment. And that is often where things break. Because when a woman is ready to surrender, what she is truly looking for is not speed, it's reassurance. Sometimes that reassurance is as simple as slowing down, lowering your voice, holding eye contact, pausing, letting her feel that you are not consuming her but connecting with her. One of the most powerful things a man ever said to a client of mine was this: "We'll go at your pace." Those 5 words dissolved years of guardedness, and here's why. When a woman feels that her pace is respected, she relaxes deeper. And paradoxically, she often moves closer faster. Not because she's pressured, but because she feels safe. Now let's talk about emotional exclusivity. When a woman is truly ready to give herself, you may notice she becomes more sensitive to your attention distribution. Not in a dramatic way, but she pays attention. Does he text other women the way he texts me? Does he look at me the same way he looks at her? Does he prioritize me the way I prioritize him? These questions may never be spoken aloud, but they are being evaluated, because surrender without exclusivity feels dangerous. Even in casual dynamics, emotional exclusivity matters to women who are bonding. If she feels replaceable, her walls go back up immediately. But if she feels chosen, even subtly, her trust deepens. And being chosen doesn't mean grand declarations. It can look like introducing her warmly in a group, making consistent plans instead of last-minute invitations, following through on small promises. Consistency builds credibility. Credibility builds safety. Safety builds surrender. I also want to address something that may surprise you. Sometimes when a woman is very close to giving herself, she becomes unusually quiet. Not distant, not cold, just reflective. She may sit beside you and seem deep in thought. That's not disinterest. That's emotional processing. She's weighing risk and reward. She's asking herself, if I cross this line, what changes? Because once intimacy happens, dynamics shift, expectations shift, emotions deepen. Women often understand this intuitively. That's why emotional clarity before physical intimacy is so important. If you sense she's in that reflective space, don't pressure her with jokes or tension-breaking comments. Sometimes what she needs most is to feel your steady presence beside her. Silence can be incredibly intimate, and then there's the moment you'll never forget. The moment her eyes soften completely. The moment her shoulders drop. The moment she stops scanning the room and focuses only on you. That's when she has decided internally. And when that decision is made, everything about her energy changes. She is no longer evaluating. She is experiencing. Her touch becomes intentional instead of accidental. Her smile lingers. Her body stays close without hesitation. That shift is unmistakable when you know what to look for. But I want to add something vital here. True feminine surrender is not about losing herself. It is about choosing to open. And healthy masculinity, or simply healthy partnership, means honoring that choice with care. After intimacy, the way you behave matters just as much as the moments before. Do you stay present? Do you maintain warmth? Do you continue communicating? Because the brain encodes the emotional aftermath very strongly. If she feels cherished afterward, attachment strengthens. If she feels dismissed or emotionally abandoned, her nervous system registers danger. And once that alarm is activated, it's very hard to undo. So if you truly value her surrender, treat it as sacred. Now, let me ask you something reflective. Have you ever rushed a moment because you were afraid it would disappear? Or have you ever pulled away because vulnerability felt overwhelming? Both reactions are rooted in fear. Fear of loss, fear of rejection, fear of emotional exposure, but intimacy requires courage from both sides. Courage to open, courage to protect, courage to be steady. And that steadiness, it's magnetic. If you've made it this far in the video, I want to thank you. Conversations like this aren't about manipulation. They're about understanding the psychology of connection so we can create relationships built on awareness instead of confusion. If this is resonating with you, take a moment right now to like the video. It tells me you value thoughtful content like this. And share it with someone who might need clarity about what real emotional readiness looks like. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Mindful Senior Living. Because intimacy doesn't expire with age. Emotional depth doesn't disappear. And the desire to feel chosen, safe, and understood is universal. Let me leave you with this. When a woman truly wants to give herself body, time, trust, it will never feel chaotic. It will feel warm, intentional, mutual. You won't have to chase. You won't have to convince. You won't have to decode dramatic signals. You will feel her moving closer. You will sense her choosing you. You will see her softness unfold naturally. And your responsibility in that moment is simple. Be worthy of it. I'm Mary Smith. And this has been another deep conversation here on Mindful Senior Living. Remember, desire whispers. Trust builds slowly. And the most powerful connections are the ones built with patience, emotional intelligence, and respect. I'll see you in the next video.